Then I put on my video so I can see. So I hope it was helpful. I know it was a lot. I was trying to really compress them because of time. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I think I saw the comment from Thomas wants to ask a question, but I saw comment from Kilichi. He said it made more sense than the last time. I'm curious to know why. Why does it make more sense now? Kilichi. Kilichi, are you there? Okay, maybe we'll come around to ask later. Let me see. I think she might be having issues with that. All right, so Thomas, your hands are raised up. Any question?
Okay, hi, Mr. Martins. So
How you
nice
doing,
to
brother?
hear from you again.
Same here. Same here.
So I I've always been interested in tech, and I've made various attempts to uh, delve into a career in tech. Though I must confess, I've never been willing to pay for any formal training. I've always tried to learn on my own. In fact, a lot of people, all these motivational speakers tell you that you can learn it on your own. As a result, I've tried my hand on many things. In fact, I know the basic of so many things. I know the basic of, I don't know where to start. If there's hardly any programming language you mentioned now, and I won't have an idea. Why? Because I started to learn, and then I I flunked out. And looking back in hindsight now, I think it's actually because I decided to learn on my own. I don't know, maybe it works for some people. You keep hearing of a lot of people that are self-trained. Maybe it works for them. But I think the problem I had was that my interest was never consistent enough to take me all the way to where I'm supposed to get. You know, in all these programming languages, the beginning is really interesting. The beginning is really entertaining. When you realize, oh, I can do this, wow. And when you create the first codes and all that, it's fascinating. But when the codes begin to get technical, it begins to wear you out. And then before you know, you're skipping your classes and all that. So I'm wondering now, if I would have succeeded if I had made up my mind to pay for a formal training. You understand? I'm thinking about it now. And the only reason I wanted tech was for the opportunity to work from home, which it provides, which many other for example, right now, as I'm talking to you now, I'm at work. Today is Saturday. I would have given a lot of things to be at home. So, but you see, I believe those that are working in tech have such privileges once in a while. Yeah. So that was what I was hoping for, but I've tried for too long, and even I started a program last year, August, that was supposed to span for 3 months. We are supposed to end before the end of last year. It's a training on data science I got a scholarship. It's a paid training, but I got a scholarship. So I couldn't complete it. Even this year, a lot of things started coming in. I just suspended the program, thinking that I could join back later. By the time I came to join, they said our scholarship has expired, so we have to pay. And even me myself, I still didn't have that. How should I say? I still didn't have that motivation to pay to continue the program. I just always feel like pay when there are so many free websites online. So I don't know what you have to say about all this. Did you pay at some point for your own, or are you self-trained?
To be fair, I've done a paid training before. Java to be precise, at NIIT. That was in 2008. So it's been a while. That's about 15 years now. So it's a long time ago. But something I could have learned on my own. I still have to learn most of it on my own. But I get what you're saying. Sometimes learning on your own is a bit impossible for a few reasons. Number one could be just be discipline, but you don't strike me as somebody who is not disciplined. Number two could be the same thing I talked about. If you're paying attention, I said jack of all trades. You want to learn everything. And like you said rightly, at the initial stage, they first give you the ice cream. You're taking ice cream. Then before you start taking the bitter pills, it starts getting tougher eventually. But if you can shoulder through all the principles of coding, I can mention them to you. If you can shoulder through it, if you can understand all the data types, numbers, strings, boolean, all those things for a developer, for example, then if you can understand that everything we have in something like JavaScript is an object, anything that's not an object is a primitive data type, which is either a number, I mean a number or a boolean or a string. Every other thing that is not primitive data type is an object. Even your functions are objects. You notice that they're inside curly brackets. So if you start looking at things like that, start looking at all the looping statements, why statements, if else, all those things. Look at all the conditional statements. Look at all the things like the types of functions we have, factory functions, just not to bore you, constructor functions. Look at how classes work. You realize that they are the same in all those programming languages you've been trying to learn. And why not just learn one? Stick to it. No matter even if you don't think you're understanding it very well, stick to it. Keep trying it. Keep trying it. That's why I told you. I don't think you have learned something like JavaScript for a whole 6 months. From what you just explained now, you just tried it out. It became scary. You dropped it. You tried it out. It became scary. You dropped it. But that time that becoming scary is when you have started learning. To be fair, the initial things you're doing, just playing. It's that time that it started becoming difficult that you started learning. So yes, for some people, they require a system, a planned system that will help them to be disciplined or to follow through from the beginning to the end. But like you said now, even for the planned system, you're not able to attend it. So you say that that's not your problem. Your problem is that you are jumping around a lot. So it becomes discouraging completely for you to even learn it. How about you commit yourself to learning JavaScript from now to the next 6 months? Then let's have a discussion on your progress. If you can do that, just give JavaScript 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes every day for the next 6 months. Then let's talk. You see that you're singing a different song. So yes, if you think you need to do a paid lesson, like some of these Udemy courses, some of them even track your completion progress, your status and everything, you could do it. Whatever it takes to learn, invest in yourself. After they said that where your treasure lies, there lies your heart. Invest in yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. You could equally invest in a mentor. Let me give you an example, and this is not even a tech-related example. I have a friend who is presently in Colombia. She's just rounding off. Now, Colombia is one of the best, in fact, some people can arguably say that it's the best business school in the world. And she's doing a Colombia master's degree, but in risk management. So they are very good when it comes to businesses and all business degrees and all that. Now, she's done and she's afraid to start her own risk management firm, to the point that she's looking to see if she can work with one other American that has already started one. Now, when she was conversing with the American told her that, see, that's the biggest thing that draws people back. Even when you have all the skills, you need to start doubting what you're able to do. You never do that thing. So that's why I said, when you're learning, sometimes after you have coded along, close all the things you're learning from and start a project. Now, it's okay when you're starting your project to Google some things, learn how to interpret what you Google and apply it, and let's see it work. It increases your mind, how you think. That small project you are doing, the simplest of projects, you start doing it, you do another one, pick it, do another one, pick it, solve it, do another one, pick it, solve it. It increases your capacity to be able to solve problems. And that's what programming really is. And it's not just programming, data science and the rest of them is about capacity building. Because at some point you're working with small data some point you're working with a lot of data for a data scientist, for example. How do you interpret that data? You realize that the moment you understand that whether it is small data or big data, is about writing maybe a function that will be able to deal with. Okay, let me give you an example. If I was to write a simple function and I've done it, I can even do it in front of you here. I can do it if you want, really. I can share my screen and do it. A function that will take any number, maybe from 1 to a billion, and multiply that number from 1 to a billion and display the result. The function I'll write will not be more than 6 or 7 lines. But it can take, whether it is 1 to 4, whether it is 1 to 100, whether it is 1 to a billion, it will still solve it because the logic is tight. But you might need to start with small things, small things that your brain does not overthink it, because that's how the brain works sometimes. It can be overwhelming. Start with the small things and solve it, then begin to grow your capacity from there. I think that's the best advice I always give anybody. I remember when I was in NIT, we were about 30 something in class when we started. And by the time I was finishing, we're just 2. NIT used to give about 3 months for people to decide if they want to move to other courses. In that first 3 months, everybody had disappeared with just 2 of us remaining. So it used to be very easy. Sometimes we used to reschedule our classes because we're just 2. The facilitator would just call and say, okay, can we do this time? We're just 2 of us. We say yes, and we'll do it another time. So my point is that programming is scary, but it is not impossible. That's my point. So just dedicate your time. I don't think it's for intelligent people, I say. It's for dedicated and resilient people. So I hope I've answered your question. I really hope so.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I also got the assignment you gave me. I hope it's okay. I hope it's okay if I pick another program, not necessarily JavaScript. See something else. I hope I'm not stopping another person from asking a question. Let me just also point this out. One of the challenges I also noticed was I know that a lot of people start it because they want to make money, and that's also why I wanted to go into it. But yeah. I'm built in such a way that for me to forge ahead with anything, I have to find pleasure in it. Kind of, I have to find some form of satisfaction. Why I'm saying it now is because since you said now that I should learn JavaScript for 6 months, I'm thinking JavaScript. What can I do with JavaScript now that I will find that will make me feel like, wow, this is nice. I'm thinking, and web design is really not what I've been interested in whenever I think programming. You understand? So I realized now that this was also another problem that I had. Okay, so when somebody paints a beautiful picture of what you can do with a programming language, when I start learning it, and those beautiful pictures are not coming out, I think that's when I usually stop. So, well, okay, so but to take you up on this, I will go back and really decide which of the programs that I will, once I make up my mind now, whatever happens along the way, even if I'm not seeing what I thought I would see, I will just stick to it and complete it for that 6 months, and then I'll come back to you. So
yes.
you've become my mentor now.
I'm looking forward to 6 months.
Okay, so thank you very much. I truly appreciate this session.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So any other question? Any other question?
Hello.
Hi, Kelechi.
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Man, is Casey back? Okay.
Yeah, she is.
Yes, I think one of my challenges is that I don't really know how to use Zoom. I only listen, but I've not really used it the first time. And thank you. It's still exposure.
Yeah. Fine.
The comment, what I said in my chat was that I enjoyed this class more. I learned more from this one than the last time. The reason is I don't even know anything in tech. I just saw the advert, yes, on NFCS WhatsApp group, and I decided, because I know that tech is the in thing. And also in my career, I've been wondering how it could be married into it, inculcated into it.
What's your career?
I teach, but
okay.
But I studied microbiology, and I'm doing a PG in microbiology, and it got me into, I know, during my literature review, I came across the GIT hub or GTOB, I don't know. So I opened my eyes to so many things, bioinformatics, and I found out that this is actually another area which I can go into under microbiology, because I'm fed up with the lab stuff. I am more interested in how I can combine computer and microbiology. Not that I know my computer very well, but something different, something new, especially in Nigeria environment. So that was why I decided to join the tech class, the career in tech. So, but when I didn't, after the first class, it sounded great. But thank God for Mr. Chenna, who also told us about kids learning coding, and also women can apply there was a website he gave, and I clicked on it and it brought me to Shecode, and I applied. And after some time, they gave me a scholarship to learn coding. But it came with a condition that I must also bring people. So I left that. I told myself, if this is networking, I'm not interested. But whatever it is, if they really want me to learn coding, then if they've given me the go ahead or that, I'll wait for them. So a couple of weeks ago, they now told me that I can start learning. But I had this challenge of life. Even as I speak, my house was boggled and all my wires were caught. But I don't want to start with the challenges, because as I was listening to you talk to answer Thomas Aquina's questions, I found out that it's not just about tech, it's about life. If you put fear first, if you allow fear to come in, it strangulates you. It stops you from making the moves that you should make. So I've started my first week. I actually had to shift it because I was telling myself, of course, work and all that. But they are just excuses that have been stopping me in life. But I told myself I'm not going to allow it to stop me from learning coding. So I just started this week. I saw the little things about HTML, CSS. I had to go on YouTube to learn something. So that was why I said that this class made more sense, because then I didn't know, even during the first class, I didn't know about HTML. I didn't know what it was. Not that I really know what HTML is now, but now I know there is an opening tag, there's a closing tag and all that. And there was something during your presentation that also caught me. You were like, I don't know the heading, but every day, making a move, learning, giving it 1 hour or 1.5 hours, 2 hours and all that. But just like Thomas Aquinas said, when you said something like, okay, if you want to learn JavaScript, you have to give it 6 months. I was like, 6 months. Only JavaScript. Is there no way they can cut this into three weeks? I don't have that time. But I find out that has been what I've been telling myself. I don't have that time. And at the end of the day, I spend so much time in nothing. So exactly. I think first of all, it's commitment and all that. So I don't have much questions. It's just my own, will I say, observations, what I've learned. Yes. which cuts across not just tech, but life. And who knows? While I was listening to Thomas Aquinas talk about web designing and JavaScript, so I was just telling myself, who knows? This can even shift me from, because all this while I've been hearing the front line. I hope I'm right. Front end.
Front end.
Yeah. That reminds me. Can one learn the back end without learning the front end? Because under the back end, I just saw about 3 headings. But under the front web, there were so many things. But I know that the front web seems easier.
The back end it's not easy. It's not, to be fair. But if you're not good at designs and all that, some people just prefer to write logic either they go into back end. Some people are okay with the logical part. Doesn't mean it's easy. Like I told you, I'm giving you the bare minimum to get started. Now the front end looks scary because I went from minimum to advanced at some point. But I told you, I said HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can get started. But to be fair, the market space is always looking for more. That's why I said, as you start getting started, you've started maybe as an intern or as a junior developer, improving your skill. Like some of the skills I had some years ago are kind of outdated, and I improved them. I learned new things. Okay, there was a time I was really big on PHP, and right now I moved into other things. So you keep evolving. Even the way we write JavaScript years ago is not the way we write it now. So things keep changing. Before it used to be HTML, now there's HTML5. They introduce new tags. Before it used to be CSS, now there's CSS3. And CSS has different frameworks. There's Tailwind, there's Bootstrap, there's Material UI, there's Sass, which means basically adding functions to your CSS. So I don't want to bombard you. That's why I'll just mention the bare minimum to certain things so that it doesn't become scary, because sometimes I believe tech people have a way of making it so scary, and it's not their fault. It's actually supposed to be scary. But I'm telling you that the journey of a million miles begins with a step. And you don't have to go the million miles to start making money from it. That was what I was trying to sell to you. Now, part of what I'll tell you is this. A lot of people complain about time. If I tell the things I'm doing in my life right now, you will stop talking about time. You will start talking about time completely. There's a lot of things I'm handling right now. I have a full-time job. I am doing an MBA part-time. I'm a full-time dad. Living abroad, you know that we don't have help. So we have to take care of our kids ourselves. So, and just to mention a few, those are just a handful. I have personal projects I'm doing here and there. I have side hustles I'm doing. So all of the time I have, I invest in it. I don't believe in the principle of sleeping 6 hours every day. I think it's one lie that they told us so that we don't become who we want to be. But I believe in the principle of time management. Like there's enough time for those who know how to manage their time. That's just my own way of seeing the world. So I think what I'm trying to tell you is that I like that the fact that you've taken the step of beginning. Keep going. Do not be discouraged by the milestone. Like I told you, I've been doing it for a long time, but I started on the day one. I think about the day I started. And I have had tech careers for a long time. So it doesn't mean I waited till now to start having tech careers. So you get my point. Start from somewhere, keep moving, don't be discouraged. I'm happy you started. That's all that matters. Keep doing your job. Your source of income is important, but let it be on the side. One day, that on the side stuff could become your main source of income. That's the point. And we're living in a world where we're always looking for alternate ways of making money. As long as it's something you are passionate about, it can actually become your main career, as long as you're passionate about it. That's important. So thank you, Kelechi. I appreciate it. And welcome to the world of tech. I hope you stay on it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I don't know if there's any other question. We can call it a day. Okay, so it's my absolute pleasure to meet everyone here. It's really good you spent your time today. It was my pleasure to be part of this. And I hope that someday, like Thomas, in 6 months, we'll have a more robust discussion about how you started your tech career. Kelechi, I hope one day in the future, reach out to me and say, oh, I finally did it, I'm in. And for the rest of you, I hope you can get one too. But most importantly, it's about interest and passion. It's okay if you don't want to have it as a main career. How about having
6
a
months?
skill? Yeah, in 6 months, you could actually start feeling good
Okay.
about yourself, about being in tech. Then I feel like it's a journey of 1 year, 6 months. That's where you can really start on enjoying yourself in tech. But at least in 6 months, you must have been able to know that if this is for you or not in 6 months. I think you can decipher that in 6 months. Anything earlier than 6 months is not enough time, in my own opinion. It is too premature to decide before 6 months that tech is not meant for you. So
No, I wasn't talking about the skills. I was talking about meeting again to rub minds.
Yeah. In 6 months, I'm sure I'll be able to have another session with just the people who started. Nobody else. I won't be doing this again, but for those who started, I could have a session, to discuss it. Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much. And thank you, Chena, for organizing this. And thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Martins. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.